care who he looks like. On fight night, he's done.
In the East, a new star in boxing was rising. Japanese fighter Naoya Inoue, nicknamed the Monster, was rapidly conquering the lower weight divisions. By the age of 25, this samurai had already become a world champion in 3 divisions and a dominant force of his generation. In 2018, Inoue joined the prestigious World Boxing Super Series in the bantamweight division, determined to prove himself as the best in the weight class. His first opponent was no easy challenge, former world champion and Olympian Juan Carlos Payano, a Dominican fighter who had never been knocked out before. Known as Baby Pacquiao, comparisons to the legendary Filipino icon Manny Pacquiao were inevitable. Fans wondered, could Payano's style, appearance, and fighting spirit truly resemble a young Manny? This intrigue added a unique tension to the upcoming fight. It felt as though Inoue was about to face the shadow of Pac-Man himself. Juan Carlos Payano was born into a poor, large family in La Vega, Dominican Republic. Like Pacquiao in the Philippines, he experienced hardship from a young age, growing up barefoot, going hungry, and working early to help his family. His desire to escape poverty led him to boxing. Payano began fighting in backyard matches at the age of 5 and dedicated his youth to the sport. As an experienced boxer, he made the difficult decision to leave his wife and 3 sons behind in the Dominican Republic to pursue his dream of becoming a world champion in the United States. "I didn't abandon them," Payano recalled. "I did it to give my family a better life, to escape the poverty and hunger I endured as a child." The tears of his loved ones on the night of his departure nearly made him reconsider. But Juan Carlos was determined to become a champion for them and return victorious. Sound familiar? Payano's journey in boxing mirrors Pac-Man's story in many ways. Both are short southpaws competing in the lighter weight classes, lacking standout physical attributes. Their strengths lie in speed, endurance, and heart. Like a young Pacquiao, Payano showcased an aggressive, relentless style. His trainer once said, "Opponents struggled to prepare for Juan's unrelenting aggression and power." Payano constantly pressed forward, engaging in wild exchanges, a crowd-pleasing approach that earned him the nickname Mini Pacquiao. Even physically, fans noted similarities: a stocky build, a wide, smiling face, and an emotional intensity in the ring. Most importantly, both fighters shared the warrior's mentality. Juan, like Manny, was humble outside the ring, but transformed into a fearless competitor inside it. He wasn't afraid to take a punch and was always willing to risk it all for victory. Payano dreamed of dominating his division. "I want to do in the bantamweight division what Manny Pacquiao did in his," he declared. This bold statement reflected his ambition and confidence. Success came quickly. Payano represented the Dominican Republic in 2 Olympic Games and rose to the top of the professional ranks. In 2014, just 4 years after his pro debut, the 30-year-old Baby Pacquiao captured his first world title, the WBA bantamweight belt. In a dramatic fight, he shocked longtime champion Anselmo Moreno, whose experience couldn't withstand Payano's relentless pressure. With this victory, Juan fulfilled his promise to his family. He became a world champion and soon brought his loved ones to live with him in Miami. Back home in the Dominican Republic, he became a national hero, a rare champion from the Caribbean. Fans dubbed him the Dominican Pacquiao, believing their countryman could replicate even a fraction of the Filipino legend's success. Payano embraced the nickname with pride and responsibility, understanding that comparisons to Pacquiao were both an honor and a heavy burden. With every fight, Juan sought to prove that the title Baby Pacquiao was well deserved.
The bantamweight division, Infinity Sports Fight Night Boxing. And there, Maldonado is down.
But time is unforgiving. Payano was already in his 30s, and many believed his best days were behind him. After losing his championship belt in a close rematch with Raushi Warren in 2016, the Dominican fighter was eager to reclaim his former glory. The WBSS tournament offered him a chance to reach new heights. In the first round of the bracket, he was matched against the fearsome Naoya Inoue, a young prodigy and tournament favorite. For Pacquiao, this fight was an opportunity to shock the world and shake up the division. For Inoue, it was a chance to prove why he was called the monster. The stakes were high, and both fighters knew it.
ボクシングを全て出し切って、この試合をしっかりと、自分のものにしたいと思います。
Pelea difícil. Estamos en la máxima preparación que hemos podido estar.
The fight was scheduled for October 7th, 2018, at Yokohama Arena. 2 days before the bout, Inoue remained calm at the press conference, acknowledging his opponent's credentials. Pacquiao is a very tough and experienced fighter, but I'll do my best to show my boxing and win. However, in the locker room before the fight, the usually reserved Naoya made a bold statement. I'm aiming for a knockout. I'm going to finish him. These words, spoken before a packed arena, sounded like both a promise and a warning. The 15,000-strong crowd of Japanese fans roared in support of their hero, but boxing insiders knew Pacquiao was no pushover. He had defeated top fighters like Moreno and Warren and competed in 2 Olympics. Yes, Inoue was the favorite, 9 years younger with devastating punching power. But Pacquiao's experience and the Pacquiao factor made him a dangerous underdog. In the tunnel before the fight, Juan looked intensely focused. Perhaps he was thinking about how thousands of miles from home, he was once again fighting for the honor of his name, a name that carried the shadow of greatness. The fight began. In the opening seconds, the fighters studied each other. Pacquiao took the center of the ring, bouncing lightly on his feet, southpaw versus orthodox, just like Pacquiao against many of his opponents. Inoue circled patiently, waiting for the right moment. The tension grew with each passing second. Everyone knew about the monster's knockout power, but Mini Pacquiao was ready to respond with bold attacks.
3階級制覇を成し遂げた長谷川穂積さん、そして WBC バンタム級チャンピオンとして12度の防衛記録を誇ります山中伸介さん。日本人世界チャンピオンとして長きにわたってバンタム級戦線を引っ張ってきた名チャンピオン。
振ってくる左もあるからね。
Dale ángulo. Véalo bien. Vamos, bien tapadito. No te tires si no ya vea bien y tapadito. Más ángulo. Dale la vuelta, eso es.
And then, an explosive moment. Inoue struck first with a lightning-fast combination. A sharp left jab followed immediately by a devastating right hand. In an instant, the experienced Pacquiao couldn't react. His head snapped back and his body crumpled. Juan Carlos collapsed to the canvas, his legs giving out, his eyes vacant. Naoya Inoue had delivered on his promise. The punch was precise and devastating. The Yokohama arena erupted in cheers, only to fall silent in shock. The clock stopped at just 1 minute and 10 seconds into the first round. No one in the WBSS tournament had ever won so quickly. The referee didn't even bother with a count. It was clear Payano wouldn't get up. The Dominican fighter lay motionless on the canvas, his dreams shattered in an instant. One single combination ended the fight. Just moments earlier, it seemed like the action was only beginning, but Inoue had changed everything in a split second. For Naoya, this was his second consecutive first-round knockout. He had similarly dismantled Jamie McDonnell in his previous fight. Yet the magnitude of this victory stunned even seasoned experts. Payano had never been stopped before, not in the Olympics, not in 23 professional fights. And now, the undefeated veteran had been dispatched by the young champion in a flash. When Payano regained consciousness, Inoue's hand had already been raised in victory. The crowd's reaction was a mix of celebration and disappointment. Some cheered for their local hero, while others lamented the fight's abrupt end. Naoya Inoue had done what he promised. He dismantled Mini Pacquiao in seconds. This victory propelled him further in the WBSS bracket, while for Juan Carlos, it marked a turning point. The first knockout loss of his career dealt a heavy blow to his ambitions. Still, even in defeat, Payano earned respect. He had bravely stepped up to face the monster and took a punch that could have floored anyone. In his eyes, there was no regret, only an unanswered question. And that same question lingered in the minds of everyone who followed this story. Inoue had faced a copy of Pacquiao. But what if it had been the real Pacquiao? If the great Manny, in his prime, had stepped into the ring that night, would he have withstood such a perfect punch? Or would the legend have fallen just as swiftly as his mini counterpart? No one knows the answer, but one thing is certain. Every great fighter eventually faces the shadow of their own legacy. Naoya Inoue passed this test flawlessly, and fans can only wonder how a clash between the monster and the real Pac-Man might have unfolded.
Manny Pacquiao. Naoya Monster